Hello everyone, this is Zaptrocity and welcome to the Minecraft Redstone Guide. So today I'll be giving you a full and thorough explanation about redstone, and we'll go through all the gates, and we might go into some other things like pulse lengtheners, two-way repeaters, and B.U.D switches. I know there's a lot more gates and other things out there, but I'll just go through the basics for all those new people to Redstone. If there is anything more you would like to see, just leave a comment below, and maybe on the screen now there could be like a part 2 link right here. Alright, so let's get right to it. Oh, by the way, you can click on any of the links on the screen right now and it will just go, yeah. Alright. Let's do this. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about redstone is that there are some different types. Over here is some redstone ore. It usually doesn't flash, but it does flash if you right click it or left click it or right click it. You see what I did there? And even if you walk on top of it. So you can mine this, you can find this underground, deep underground, and if you mine it using an iron pick or diamond pick, you will get redstone dust, which you can place on the ground. And you can also craft a redstone torch here by combining a redstone dust on top of a stick. Now if you have two of these, one of these, and 3 stone, you can create a repeater. This thing here. So that's the first thing you need to know about redstone. And let's move on from that. With the redstone, you can basically place redstone or redstone torches or repeaters on pretty much any block. But some blocks you cannot. These are some examples. There are more examples of blocks you can't place redstone or redstone torches on. I think something died there, but see, none of these blocks you can place redstone on top of. So those are examples of blocks you cannot place redstone on. There are more. These are just a few examples. You can't place any redstone torches or redstone repeaters on any transparent blocks. So these are some examples of transparent blocks. Alright, moving on from here. So if we take a look at the redstone dust, we can see that we can place it and it connects up. It usually is like the circle thing here. You can see it, but if it combines, you can see that it all joins together. So you can place it on the ground like so. Place it anywhere you want, all connects up. But if you see here, we can't place it on the side of blocks. But that doesn't matter, because if we place it up here, it will connect up like it has done over here with these extra bits of line. Now redstone torches, you can place them pretty much anywhere. I've just shown all the places you can place the redstone torches: on the side of blocks, on the top of blocks, but you cannot place them underneath. Now repeaters are the same thing. You can place them only on the ground. If we get a block, we cannot place them on the side, and placing one up here won't connect them in any special way. Alright. With redstone, there are different ways to power it. For example, here's a lever. You can see it's connected to this door, and it opens up. With this redstone torch, we break it, and the door opens. There's the pressure plates here. If we stand on them, we can see that the door opens, and also tripwire. Difference between these two pressure plates are that this one can only be activated by players or mobs. This one here can be activated by anything, including items and other entities like boats and minecarts. Alright. in this part, we can see that I have 3 different levers set up. So over here, this lever does nothing, but this one does. You can see that we can see the door opening. Now if you flip both of the levers, we can tell the difference between them. If we look here, we can see there's a slight glow at the end, but over here there is no glow. This is because redstone current can only travel for 15 blocks before it burns out. So here we can see it's really strong, it's very bright red. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is the ending point. The next one, it will not be powered. But if we look over here, I have a repeater here. So when I flip this switch, the door at the very end right there, you can see that it activates. Now this is because after the 15 blocks, we put a repeater. Now, you can think of repeaters as it repeats the signal. So you see here, the signal is about to die, but this repeater repeats it. So if I flip that switch once more, you can see that the signal here becomes bright red again, and then it starts to die out all the way at the end here. So now we're going to look at how things are powered. So as you can see here, there's a lever encased in some glass. So basically what this glass is showing is all the blocks that the lever can be powering. So if there is a redstone dust piece in any of the spaces where the glass is, when we flip down the lever, it will activate. These are the blocks that the lever is powering. So if we get some sandstone here, and we put some redstone right there, that should activate it. No, I think the redstone needs to be right above it. So you see this glass here, this is activated. So this glass is in the way, we put that there, that's also activated. Place it there, that's also activated. Place it there, the redstone's also activated. And put there, redstone's also activated. Here, the redstone also gets activated. And it would be the same for these two. Over here I have the pressure plates one. So if we have redstone there, I step on it, it activates. Over here, it also activates. And right underneath, it also activates. So with the redstone torch is, if we place redstone right there, oh, that's not redstone, powering, same with these two sides, and this one here basically means if we put a redstone on top of that block, the redstone torch is powering this block, which will be powering this redstone piece. It'll also work if we place the redstone here as well, which I have forgotten to mention in this glass. Here we can see how repeaters work. So right here I have a repeater set up. We can see that it repeats the power this way, but if we flip it here, it's not going this way. Now this is because the repeater only works one way. Now you can tell which way this repeater is working because I can kind of tell because there's kind of like an arrow shape right here, pointing towards the way the redstone current is going. So this current will go this way, but this will only go this way. This can be useful to make, whoopsie daisies. This can be useful to make one-way currents. So this can activate the door, but if there's a door over here, this lever can't activate it. Now, repeaters have an interesting property that when they power this block, it will power this redstone dust right here. So you can see that the power is going through a block, so we don't have to use a redstone dust right there. This can also work by placing the block behind. You can also use a repeater right there to transfer the power, but you can also use redstone dust, and you can see that it works both ways. There we go. Now, you might think that, oh yeah, this repeater is sending power to this block, sending power to this redstone dust. Wouldn't that mean that this redstone dust is sending power to this block, which would be sending power to this? Well, not exactly. Not exactly. Only repeaters are able to do this. If you can also put a torch here and it will activate here. You can see that. So now with redstone torches. I don't want this. Oh well. Well, this is a redstone torch. You can link up your lever to a block, and if that block is powering any redstone torches, they will turn off. So basically, this will always be on. If this is on, will be off. So you can see that when we flip this lever, it activates all these torches on the sides here, the one above, and the ones on the sides here. Now, powering pistons can be very difficult. Some people have very hard difficulty to try powering pistons. They seem to get muddled up with them, and they don't power when it looks like it should be powering. So these are some ways that pistons will power. So we can see here that if we flip this lever, it will activate this redstone current here, which will go into this block. And this block, so if this block is activated, it will activate this piston, as we can see right there. This one's got a straight redstone current right to the piston, so it should activate it. This one's powering the block above it. You can see right here, there's an error block above here, and it's just powering that. Or you can say that it's powering this block below because of this redstone dust here. So when we do that, it powers that as well. Now here we can see that the lever goes into the redstone dust, which goes into this block, which should activate this piston here. There we go. Now over here, I've got two examples of ways people have tried powering pistons. Here is a working way, and this is a way that isn't working. Now the difference between these two, you can see that one's one level higher and this one's one level shorter. Now you can see here that the redstone line goes right through here. It's not actually connected. Even though this redstone's right next to this piston, it won't activate unless it's got a straight line going towards it. You can also use something like this, so that the current's going straight towards the pistons, so those should all activate. But if we have something like this, nothing's getting direct current. This one here, however, it's working because this redstone dust would be activating this block here, which would be activating the piston right there. It would be powering all that. Now, if we look a bit more into repeaters, we can see that there are 4 different types of repeaters right here. There's one where these two torches here are really close together. This one, there's a little gap there. This one has 2 gaps, and this one has 3 gaps. So what you see here are the delay between repeaters. Repeaters have the ability to delay the circuit. So when we flip this lever, we should be able to see that this piston should go up, then this one, then this one, then this one. Should be able to see that there's a slight, kind of like a wave kind of pattern. So basically with a repeater, there are these 4 different states. This state here is 1 tick. This is 2, 3, and this is 4, the maximum. 1, 2, 4. We can change these states by right-clicking the repeater. There we go. Once you get to 4, it automatically goes back to 1 when you right-click again. So over here I've got the little test of redstone torches here. So I'm trying to explain here that redstone torches have a delay, so that we don't need to worry about that. So we can see here that this wire is going to power this piston, and it's also going to this redstone torch here. It's powering this block, redstone above it powering this block, powering the redstone torch, which is powering this block, powering this torch, which goes into the piston. So if we look closely, we can see that this piston activated first, then this one. So, looking at that, we can tell that redstone torches would also have a delay, along with redstone repeaters. So, to find out how much delay each torch has in comparison with a repeater, I've got this set up. So there are 2 torches here. The lever goes into this block, powers this redstone torch, which powers the block above, powering this redstone dust, going into this torch, then going into a redstone line connecting to the piston. Now over here I have a line this way connecting to 2 ticks on the repeater going into the piston. Now if we look closely, we should be able to see that they go up at the exact same time. This is because 1 redstone torch is equal to 1 redstone repeater tick. So these are called ticks, a redstone torch tick. So we can see that 2 torches here would equal to 2 redstone repeater ticks right here. So we can conclude that one repeater tick equals to 1 redstone torch tick. Over here we're going to look at some alternate ways of powering. So as we can see here, we've got this straight 1x1 tower. Now if we want to power a piston that's way up in the sky, but we don't want to have this massive long staircase, which we could do, of redstone line going up, we could do this, where we can have this lever here is powering the block, powering the torch, which would power the block above it, powering this torch, and it would continue that cycle all the way up. So if we flip this lever, we can see that this piston should extend. There we go. Now keep in mind that, remember, a tick here would go into all of this, and it would cause this to be delayed. Now just keep in mind, if you didn't know this, 6 ticks on 6 redstone ticks would equal to 1 second in real life. So if we had like 2 repeaters here, 1 on 4 and 1 on 2, that would equal to 1 second. And if we had 6 redstone torches, that would equal to 1 second, like I have shown right here. 6 ticks is 1 second IRL, in real life. Alright, over here again. Now this is a, some might call this a glitch. Since glowstone is counted as a transparent block, but it's like also solid at the same time, it's something crazy like that. It's a transparent block, but you can place redstone on top of it. So basically, what happens here is the redstone current's actually going through this block right here, because this is a transparent block. There we go, so it would be able to go up here. And the same thing would apply, and go up there, there, there. This means you can have a 15 high redstone track going upwards without any delay like this. So if we flip this lever, this piston should activate instantly. There we go. So over here I have a way of getting redstone signals down. We can see here that I've got the staircase that runs redstone wire down and powers this piston. Now this could look kind of messy and could take up a bit too much room if you've got something really big or want to compact things. So there are some alternate designs of powering things down. Here we have redstone torch that's going to be powering this redstone dust. Goes into another redstone torch, which will activate everything going downwards. That will go into a piston. So if we flip this, piston should activate. Now keep in mind that there is delay on this, so just keep that in mind as well. Okay, over here I have the same thing pretty much, but it kind of fits a little more nicely together. So if we see here, this redstone torch will power this redstone line right here. This levers also would power this as well. This redstone dust would then power this, powering that, and going downwards. So if we see here, Now the thing about this one is that it uses more redstone torches. And so on here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 redstone torches. Now this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this one's slightly lower than this one, meaning this one's going to have more delay in it. So this one would be your preferred use. Now if you're thinking about this and thinking, shouldn't the current be able to go down? It doesn't exactly work like that. If we power that, can't power that, you can see that the redstone current doesn't like to go downwards for some reason. It's very strange, but whatever, who cares. Alright, now we'll move on to some of the logic gates we can use when combining all of our basic knowledge about redstone now. The first gate on our list is the OR gate. So the OR gate works like this. This is the basic example of an OR gate. What happens is, if any of these outputs are on, this one will turn on. So if any of these levers are turned on, this piston will turn on. So this one's on, so this would always be on. If this is on, if they're both on, they're all going to be on. But if they're both off, this piston will turn off. That's an OR gate. Now the NOR gate, wait, let me just explain to you how I remember the OR gate. The OR gate, I just think of it as like this or this would power this. That's how I remember it. I just had to share that with you guys. Now the NOR gate here is basically an N in front of the OR. You add in a redstone torch at the end. So if both of these are on, or one of these are on, the piston turns off. So if they're both off, it turns on. Because redstone torches invert the signal right there. There we go. That's a NOR gate. We can see that N, I kind of think it was like negative, like opposite. Negative OR gate, kind of like the opposite. Here is the AND gate. Now I think of it, the AND gate, as this lever and this one needs to be on to power this. So if we flip one lever, we can see it does nothing. Flip this one, it does nothing too. But if we flip both of them, this turns on. Now if they're both on, nothing happens. One on, nothing happens. They both need to be on to power the piston. That is an AND gate. I think of it as this lever and this lever equals to that. Now over here is the NAND gate. Now if you've listened to my explanation on the NOR gate and how I think of N as negative, the opposite, the NAND gate is basically we remove this inverter here because it already has one, and we just make it like this. So if both of these are off, this will turn off. So this one and this one for it to turn off. Moving on, the XOR gate. Now this one's this looks pretty big. I've made this as long and big as possible to make this more easy for you to understand. The XOR gate here, I've combined it in two parts, this orange part and the white part. Now ignore the middle bit at the moment, and we're focusing on the two sides at the edge. So, if we look at the lever here, if we just remove that, and we also remove that, so we can get that ready. So if we flip this, it turns on. This here is pretty much a NOR gate, as you've seen before. So if we flip this, it turns on. Flip both of them on. You can see that that's a NOR gate, pretty much, which we saw right over there. Connects up. You can see right here, it just connects up like this instead. You can see this redstone line going towards this, powering that. This one going towards this, powering that. Right, now this middle part here, this this is the extra part, and it's quite difficult to understand, possibly. So what happens here in the middle? So the OR gates, if any of these are on, then this will turn on. Now if these are both on, this will turn off. Now we can see that if both, it's kind of like a combination of the AND gate as well. This bit here is pretty much an AND gate. Right here. Like a big version of the AND gate right here, you see? Torch, connecting to this. So we have a torch here, connecting up together to a central point. So that we know that when they're both off, this will turn on. Alright, so we have this here. So when any of these are on, this turns on. So when both of these are on, this should turn on. But the thing is that it's turned off because of this AND gate here. When both of these are on, it will turn off. Right there. So basically we can think of this XOR gate as if any of these outputs change, if any of the inputs change, the output changes. See, if we flip any lever, the piston always changes. Now, if we look at the XNOR gate, it's basically, like I've said before, it just has an inverter at the end. That's the only difference. So when they're both, when these are both turned on, this is turned on. When they're both like this, one on, one off, this is turned off, and when we do this, it's on. Now, if we look over here, I have some more compact versions of an XOR and XNOR gates right here. This one just has an extra inverter, so basically what we can see here is the power comes to here. Now with half slabs there, it's actually going up the half slabs. So just keep that in mind. It's actually going to power, if we flip this, it's actually going to power that. Alright, but the thing is that this power doesn't travel downwards, this only travels upwards. So that's very cool. So I won't go into much detail on how this works. It's basically what we explained before. You can copy that if you would like. 3 half slabs. Like so. Alright. And you just add an inverter to make it an XNOR. Now we'll move on from there. This thing here is an XNOR latch. Now, that looks pretty simple, doesn't it? Now, I think of these XNOR latches as, if you look into some, if you break open, like, a technology device thing, maybe your phone or something, I don't know, I'm thinking more of the, like, old school arcade kind of games that, if you break open some of these, I think I've seen something that looks kind of like a square kind of thing. That's what I think of it as. So what happens with the XNOR latches, when we push this button, this will turn off forever. This will always be turned off, and if we push the button, nothing's going to happen, because this is being constantly powered by this. When we push this button, this will turn off forever, and it will turn this one on. So when this one's, so when we push this turns off. It would turn this torch on, because nothing would be powering it, and that would send a redstone circuit right back to here, making this always turned off, sending power to it constantly. So this is basically, people say, as a memory cell. This is always like this, so we can have something like a door. So if we push this, and then we push this, it opens, it'll stay open, and we can push the button to close it. So this can be on the outside, you can push a button to open it, then when you walk inside, you can push this to close it. That's an XNOR latch. That's the more simplified version. Over here I have a slightly more one-wide version of the XNOR latch. So if we flip this, it'll turn this on. Flip this, it'll turn this on. So when we push this button, this redstone torch would turn off. Bam, you see it right there. If this redstone torch turns off, this redstone line up here would turn off. Right there. And then, since nothing's powering it, it would activate this torch, go down here, and since there's that redstone dust right there, powers this block, powering the torch. Alright, over here we have a monostable circuit. Now, if we look here, we push the button, we see that the piston fires really quickly. What a monostable circuit does, it shortens the pulse of something like a button, or possibly even a lever. If we had a lever right here, there we go, and we flip that, it sends a short pulse, and then we can turn it on again. So that's pretty much turning a lever into a button pulse. So how this works is, you see the redstone circuit coming from our lever and button, comes into this repeater, which would power this block. Now it splits off into two ways, one going this way and one going with this redstone torch. So if we look at this redstone torch, this would turn off, since this is being powered, so this would turn off. Now when we turn that off, we could see this turns on. So when we push that button, basically what happens is, this turns on, because nothing's been powered. So if we push this, you can see that that's what it does. So now what's this bit here? So what happens is, when the circuit splits off, it turns this off, so it turns this on, but this would also turn on because the power's being coming through here. Now it goes through a little bit of a delay, so like, half a second or so, and then half a second later it would apply power to this, which means this would turn off. So it would turn on, then turn off really quickly, because it would get power, it would lose its power, then it would gain it straight away. So let's see that one more time. There we go. Over here I have a more another monostable circuit here. I don't know, just because. I think this one. No, never mind. Over here, these are some smaller monostable circuits. This one here does that. This one here. There are smaller ones. You can look on Google or something. I'm pretty sure there's a smaller one than this. These are just some simple ones that use the concept over here. Alright, moving on from here. This is a T flip-flop. Now, if we look at this, you may be going, what the heck is this? This is insane. So what I've done here is I've color-coded it in 3 different colors. Alright, so the white part here, the white part is the signal shortener, and the orange part is an XNOR latch, and the purple bits you can see on the top and the bottom are pretty much sort of helpful. They're kind of like an extra XNOR latch combined with it, something like that. So if we push this button here, what happens is this thing here, this piston here, stays up. And push again, it turns down, off. So T flip-flop is kind of like a toggleable flip-flop. So when we push the button, it'll always stay on, and when we push it again, it will always stay off. So what happens here, this white bit right here is the signal shortener. So this bit is pretty much a monostable circuit, which I have previously explained. So basically, if that's a monostable circuit, we could pretty much put this in as well. So we've basically shortened that into this. How this works is, remember the ticks, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a 4-tick delay. When this turns this off, it'll turn off, then it'll turn on straight away. Same thing here applies. Now we can see that it splits off here into two different parts. So basically, the top one, there's a top one and there's a bottom one. Now, depending on the state of the output, this it will activate either one. So when we push this button, it activates this one, but not this one. But when we activate this, it will activate that torch and not this one. If we look here, that didn't work. That activated. That didn't activate. This time it did. Now if we look at this one, activates. Doesn't activate, it activates that one instead. So, basically how this part works is, when this turns off, this can't turn on because there's power guiding it, so it'll turn this one on. Now this one would go into the XNOR latch, resetting it, turning this one off, so that next time it would set this one as being able to trigger it again, and this one as on, so that this would always be off the next time. It's quite difficult to explain this, and I hope you understand that. It's probably the most difficult one to understand so far, but this is the more simple way of explaining it. There are more compact ways than this. This is quite big, but I'm just explaining this was the old school method of T flip-flops. So, push that again. You can see that activated, so this one will be next to activate, resetting the XNOR latch, then triggering this again, so this would always, Alright, now over here I have an T flip-flop that is very compact compared to that. So when we push this button here, turns off, push it again, turns on. So how this works here is, both these pistons are being activated at the moment. Now, you can see, you might be going, how? These torches are turned off. Well, actually, the pistons are being activated diagonally. So, what exactly happens here is they're being powered diagonally. When I push the button, it turns this torch off. Now when that torch turns off, this redstone line will turn off. Then both of them would retract, but then the redstone torch instantly turns on, like 1 tick later, pushing the pistons out of the way. It happens all too fast, so this is a different concept. There are other smaller ones and all sorts of things out there. This one's just another simple one to understand. This here is the ABBA switch, or Abba switch. So I've labeled these two outputs, A and B. Now, what essentially this does is it activates A first, then B, then B, then A. So we'll just turn that off first. Alright, so when we flip the switch, what should happen is it should activate A, then B. A, then B. A, B. Cool. Now, next we want it to activate B, then A. So it does B, then A. So this can be useful for things that need to be done in a certain sequence, like, for example, piston doors. They need that. Alright, so how this works is when we flip the lever, it splits off into two ways. Firstly, it would split off into here, activating A after 4 ticks. And let me set it to daytime. Then this would also go into here. So after this has been activated, it would go into here, into B, and it would activate B. And it would also send a signal here, so, but this one's already on, so it doesn't matter. So if we see that again, oops. A then B. Now when we turn it off, the first thing that's going to happen is this will turn off. But since this is already being powered, this will stay on. That means this will be useless. So I would turn off this, I would turn off that, and then it would go into the repeater and then turn off B then A, see? And we turn it off again. Notice how when this turns off, this still stays on because of that. So that's the ABBA switch. It goes in a circle right here. It goes around circle. The input comes in here. It goes two ways, and the second way goes around in a loop kind of thing. Cool. Okay, this part here are edge detectors. So there are two types of edge detectors. There's a falling edge detector and a rising edge detector. So the difference between these are, a falling is when the input changes from 1 to 0 or on to off. This one, the rising is from off to on. So basically, the falling, it won't do anything when we flip it, but when it turns from on to off, so if we flip it, activates, it's a short pulse. This one here is the rising one, so when it turns on, off to on, so right now it's off, and when we turn it on, that should activate. But when we turn it off, nothing happens. The opposite happens here. So the difference between these two are the delays. This one is on 1, this one's on 2, this one's on 4, and this one's on 1. So these are like the minimum delays to get the piston to extend. I guess I think that would work. Yeah, except for that one's just a little longer. So if we look at this, first thing it would do is it would power this. So it wouldn't do much because this is already being powered by that. But then it would turn this off. Wouldn't matter because this would be already powered, so it would do nothing. But when it turns on again, this would turn off, meaning this would turn on, activate, but then it would come in and, turn it off again real quickly. Sort of like the monostable circuits we've previously shown. Bam. Now this one here, first thing it does is it would turn the redstone torch off, meaning it would activate the piston, and then a few ticks later, it would turn it off again. Bam. That's how those work. Cool, and that would sum up about all the logic gates. If you would like me to show a few more, there are a few more or other things similar to logic gates. I could show you some more compact designs, or ones involving more pistons instead of repeaters, torches, and redstone dust. Yeah, I can always do that if you always want me to, but we will move into some other things that are still redstone related. Alright, if we look at over here, this is a pulse lengthener. So I split it into two parts, the white wall and the orange wall. So, basically what we have here is an NOR latch I have shown you earlier. Now, if we push the button, what's going to happen is that piston's going to be up for quite a long time, and then it'll stay down. So after this button comes back, it's still on. It still activates. So what happens here is it activates the NOR latch. Right? If we see here, activates the NOR latch. Now when it activates the NOR latch, this torch would turn on. You can see that. Now when that torch turns on, it goes off into two ways. It activates this first of all, this piston, and then it would go off here into a delay circuit, automatically resetting itself. So it would just turn on, you can see the power coming out, and then it would go back into the torch, turning itself off. So that's a pulse lengthener, or like an automatically resetting NOR latch. Cool. And this thing over here, this is a two-way repeater. So, like I have explained in the basics, repeaters only go one way, and if we flipped the other lever, it would just block off. But if we look here, if we flip this side turns on, and if we flip this side turns on. So that's pretty cool. So how this is working right here is when we flip this lever, it only goes this way, into this torch. This torch would then turn off, turning this redstone dust off, making this redstone torch turn on. And then once that turns on, it would activate this. But it also goes into here. Don't think it's really necessary though. Oh no, it is necessary. It'll cause clock. Oh yeah, because this is off. Since this is off, it will need power to send it to this. So the same thing applies here. Because we always need this redstone dust to get the signal over there. And this is just to prevent it from turning into a clock. Cool. This here is a B.U.D switch. So what the thing does is a B.U.D switch stands for a block update detector switch. So what happens is when we place a block right next to this piston, it will fire redstone current. If we place or block or update something, like if water flows down here, lava flows, we apply power, use redstone torch ticks, something like that, it would activate this circuit here. So how this works is pistons are powered diagonally. So when we flip this on, it's actually powering this piston. But the game doesn't realize that this piston is being activated right now. So when we update this piston, the game tells it, oh, it's activated, and it will push out, and nothing happens. But if we turn this off, it's now on magically. Now if we update it again, the game would tell it this piston's not being activated, it needs to pull back. So basically what we have here is when it's being powered diagonally, you can see it's powering this block, which is diagonal to this piston. And so what happens is when we update it, it pushes it something over here, on top of that, going into this, activating the redstone, then the redstone torch, then turning this off. That would, then the game would tell the piston, oh, to pull itself back, because it's not being powered. So once it's not being powered, it would pull back, but then once it pulls back, it would trigger this again. See right there? So you could place multiple ones there like that. Might not register everything though. Yeah, there's some other types of B.U.D switches out there. I suggest looking it up if you are interested in stuff like this. Over here we have a clock. Now, a clock works, you can see here that this power is going off and on, off and on. So you can see it's going on and off, on and off. Now how this works is if we play this to stop it, when we flip the lever again, this would turn on, turning this on, turning this off, turning this on, turning this off. Then if this is on, and this is on, this would have to turn off again, sending it a loop back, turning this one on, then off, and going back in a loop. So we can see here, it goes in a big loop. So if you're thinking, oh yes, this is a 5 clock, because there are 5 redstone torches. That's why this one's called a 5 clock. Now, if you're thinking that, and you might be thinking, this must be a 6 clock, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 redstone torches. So, but if we flip the lever here, or flip the lever here, doesn't do much. It's because clocks only work with an odd amount of redstone torches. So we can see here that if it's an even number, it all just perfectly lines up together. So this right here is a 7 clock. So there's 7 redstone torches, there's one hidden there, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we can see it's still working. Now, the difference between a 7 clock and a 5 clock is, if we look at this piston, boom, 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 boom. This one goes boom, boom, boom. This one's slightly slower. The more redstone torches you have in the clock, the slower the pulse is going to be here. The slower this is, it's going to be longer. So, if we go a little shorter, right here we have 3 redstone torches. This would generate a 3 clock. Now we can see that's going very fast. And we can see there, this is the error with them. Look at that. Now the problem with 3 clocks are that they stop working. These redstone torches blink so fast that the game they just burn out and they just stop. They just stop working. See? Like, there's no power being provided to this redstone torch, but it's turned off anyways. And after a random amount of time, it will just randomly turn back on, unless we just place a new torch. So 5 clocks are the maximum you can do without the torches burning out. Over here we have a 1 clock. So that goes extremely fast. I should turn that off. Look at that. But it will just randomly turn off at random points. Now, people can sometimes randomly generate 1 clocks when, like this. So if you have like a normal redstone line here, and you're thinking, why is it blinking all of a sudden? It's because you have a block on top of a redstone torch. Now, usually that's fine if it's like this. Now, but when there's a redstone dust on top, it does all that. That's because the redstone torch turns on, powering this block, powering the redstone dust, which would be powering the block below it, powering the torch again, going around in a big cycle. So that's the story behind that. Just be careful when making your own circuits that you try and prevent this from happening. Now right here is a working 1 clock that will not burn out. Now I have a monostable circuit attached to this, and it's going on a cycle. And it's not going to burn out, because repeaters aren't the same as redstone torches. They can transfer pulses quite easily. And if we adjust the delay on this, it would mess it up, but if we... it needs to be... this pulse here needs to be changed a bit. There we go. And over here I have another type of clock right here. See? Going around in a circle. And actually, if we put a sticky piston right there, we should be able to... So what happens here, this is just a signal shortener, so it would keep this pulse at 1 tick delay, but since this is 2 ticks here, or just turn into 2 ticks, I didn't really go over these types of signal shorteners, but yeah. Alright, I think that would actually conclude my redstone guide here. Hope you guys all enjoyed this and found this useful. This took me some time to make. I would appreciate a like if you did enjoy this or found it useful. If you do have any more suggestions or questions, things that you'd like to know more about redstone, feel free to leave a comment below. Probably answer your questions or make another video. maybe a part 2 of the Redstone guide. Alright, so that's it for today, guys. I'll see you guys another time.